like to do in this room is build built-in bookshelves all along this wall. We're going to have a lot of books and babies' toys and all that stuff, so we need a lot of storage.
Oh yeah.
And I've always wanted to build built-in bookshelves, but I've always been a little intimidated by the idea of doing it from scratch. So we figured we might be able to start with these stock bookcases.
That's a great idea. Now the idea of built-in bookcases is to make them look custom. So you want to tie in the baseboard, for example, right across the front. And we'll take these bookcases and we'll put a face frame on it. Because there's going to be a gap right here, we want to fill that space between the two with another piece of face frame. And if they don't fit tight to the wall, we'll have to fill that void right here with another piece of face frame that we can scribe to the wall, tying them together, making them really look built in. Now I noticed this piece right here. What's the idea of this?
Yeah, this is actually an extension unit. This goes on top of the bookcases to bring it a little closer to the ceiling, since we want them to go all the way to the ceiling.
Oh, right. Well, this room, I noticed you don't have any crown molding in it.
That's right, but we have it in the other rooms. I installed it there, and I'd really like to have it in this room too.
Okay, well, that doesn't look like it's going to go quite to the ceiling, but I think if we put that on top, we'll be able to fill that void with another board, and then we can cover that all up with a crown molding.
So we can do this?
Absolutely, but it's going to be a lot of work, and we got to get started.
Let's go.
To remove the existing baseboard from the wall, I'm going to use my utility knife to cut the caulking along the top and the bottom. Now I'll use a few different pry bars to gently pry it away from the wall. My oscillating saw will make a nice clean cut on this baseboard in the corner. These two cabinets right here will fill up the space on the wall to the right of the window. So the next thing I want to do is clamp them and screw them together. Okay, put a clamp on that, Jarrett. Make them even too. Okay, let's put one up here too. Okay. I'll drill some pilot holes and screw the cabinets together using deck screws.
Okay, now let's put these extension units up on top.
Sounds good. Drop them right on these little cam screws here. I'll grab the other one if you want to twist that screw.
Got it.
Thank you. All right, I've located the studs in the wall and I've measured their location. So now we can place the cabinet in place. Okay, good. All right, now the next thing we have to deal with is the height of the cabinet in relationship to the baseboard. If you want this bottom shelf to line up at the top of the molding, we need to raise the whole cabinet about 1 1/4 inches.
Well, actually, eventually we want to do a wainscoting treatment along the walls, and I believe we actually want to get rid of this cap piece here.
Oh, okay. But you do want to have this line right here go right across the front of the cabinet.
Yes.
Okay, well, I think our height is pretty good right now. I think all we need to do is push the cabinet tight to the wall and shim the front, and then we'll screw it in those stud locations that I measured for.
Okay.
All right? All right, you want to put a level on that and see if it's plumb?
That looks pretty good.
Okay, now are we hitting the end of the window stool?
Not quite.
Okay, I'm going to slide it over to you. Tell me when it's hitting.
Yep, we got it.
Okay. Now we'll just screw it into the studs that I measured for earlier. Okay, now we'll do the same thing on the other side of the window. All right, let me show you how we're going to deal with this space over the bookshelf. First of all, we're going to use a piece of 1x8 pine like that, and that's going to fill that gap up nicely. The problem is there's an 1/8 inch gap right here. So I've ripped down these 1/8 inch fillers that will slide into place just like that, filling that gap. Now the other problem is at the top, there's nowhere to fasten that board. So what I did is I made up a couple of pieces of 2x4 as a nailer. And we'll fasten these to the ceiling right here in line with the face of our bookcase. Wood glue and a few pins will hold this filler in place. I like to glue and nail the miter first and then install the fascia as one piece. The cabinets are all set. They're closed in at the top and they're actually ready for crown molding. Now you told me you did some crown molding before, right?
Yeah, I've done it in a few of the other rooms.
All right, you want to tackle the crown molding up there?
I'd love to.
Okay, you do that. I'm going to work on the baseboard.
Sounds good. All right, Tom, I'm all done with the crown molding.
Okay, that looks good. Now let me show you what I'm working on down here. To tie the two bookcases together, we built a platform right here to support another shelf at the bottom. Construction adhesive will hold this shelf in place so no nails are needed.
Looks great.
This is a second frame right here, and it will drop a shelf right on there, and that will tie everything together really nice. Okay, we're now ready to start installing the face frames on our cabinets. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to cover the space between the edge of the bookcase to the wall, and I bought a piece of 1x6 to do that. Now the 1x6 will go against the cabinet like this and hit the wall, but if you notice the wall is not straight. They never are. So we have to scribe it. I also want to make sure that the edge of my board is a 1/2 inch out past the edge of the bookcase. Right now this board is too wide for this space, and I want to set the board a consistent distance away from the inside of the cabinet. So I measured 2 inches from the inside of the cabinet at the bottom, and I measured 2 inches at the top. I'll put the board on that mark. Okay, now I have a 2-inch overhang from the inside of my cabinet to the outside edge of the board, but I only want to have a 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my scribes at 1.5 inches. Now I want to hold my scribes against the wall, but I want to make sure I hold them level. And I'll just run them right down the wall. Now I'll follow the line with my circular saw. Now I set my saw on a bevel so just the leading edge will hit the wall. All right, let's see how it fits.
Perfect.
All right, now we'll just nail it in place.
Great.
These styles are the finishing touch, and they'll really dress up your bookcase.
Awesome.
Hey guys, I think we're all done. A little paint on the walls and on the bookcase, and you'll be ready for the baby.
Well, I think the room will be ready for the baby.
Thank you so much, Tommy. These look amazing, like they were custom made for the room.
Well, thank you.